Hello, welcome to Pommyinoz. We're at the end of the year. It's our first one in the post-season. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please subscribe. We're going to do a plethora of content throughout the post-season, obviously to co-in-line as well with my work in Blue Abroad. And we've got a really exciting post-season, probably the most important post-season of, I'd say, living memory for me in the 10 years. This is super important because I think at the moment, in summary, we're almost there. Like 11th place says that we're not too far away. And if you look at the numbers and stuff, and we're going to have a look at them numbers and maybe what we need to focus on, where we think the issues were this season, and really kind of try and catapult a plan while we're here of where to go in the next 6 to 8 weeks of this post-season. Now, obviously what we do know is I would say 7 and 10. At the start of the year, if you knew it was a 17-game season, you would have probably taken this, and you would have definitely taken 11th. It is a huge improvement. I think, though, when you look at where we were mid-year, I think you could probably pose an argument that it is a disappointment, and I would hope the majority would do, because if you're going to get better, you've got to praise, but you've also got to want more. And I think if we say a job is done at 11, that's an issue for me. That's an issue, I think, anywhere in life. I think for me, when we look at the numbers, and we look at them versus, say, someone like Brendan Bolton, I think for me, you look at it and there's a clear situation of goals are up. Are up by over 13%, and that's adjusting for the shortened quarters as well. If you adjust it, that's plus 13.5%, which is huge. Scoring shots are up 26%. That's huge with the adjustment for shortened quarters. Plus 12% on inside 50s. That's huge. It's shown we're getting a lot more of the ball. I mean, a lot more of the ball in the right areas, and it's going in a more attacking transition. Now, one of the ones that I think is an element of concern, and we are going to cover it, is we've gone to a kick-heavy game style. Now, whether that's a structural methodology, or maybe that makes up for our probably inability with the ball in hand, and probably trying to get territory is a big part of what Teague wants to build. And I think it's more of a sign of the cattle he's got available to him. I think if you ask Teague, I genuinely think he'd want to add a bit more handball to that game and give us a dynamic that allows for pressure, because that pressure has really probably cost us. 9 times this year we've had 5 or more goals kicked on us in a run, and it has come predominantly in the first half as well, particularly our slow starts. Our slow starts have been a cataclysmic disaster and cost us many of the games. And I think one of the telling stats for me is we are actually down in disposals. We're down just 1%. It works out about 3 disposals a game, but our clangers are up 7%, and our turnovers are up 4%. So that to me is a worry in the terms of where we go, and that brings pressure. If you actually look at Carlton's second quarter, which is statistically our worst, and it's where the majority of these swings have happened, you actually find that we're down on average by output 11.12%, and about 62% of errors occur in this area for the entire game. And it's pressure for me because our kicking efficiency is 17th in the league. We're 15th for inside 50 conversions, and our disposal efficiency astronomically gets worse in these time periods. And for me, you also look at the pressure acts. These pressure acts and tackle numbers are genuinely, when it swings, they go right down. It's almost like Carlton go in their shell. And for me, that is something that if I was David Teague, I would be mighty worried about. And how do you fix it, Pommy? It's a tough one. I think it comes in 3 folds for me. I think the first fold is you need a plan B, and I don't think we can have a plan B with the cattle available. I think that requires cattle to come in. I think 2, for me, we have to have people that under pressure are good, excellent ball users, And 3, we need someone that's going to always drive the traffic, always drive the herd, always be strong to the ball. And for me, someone that's always going to be willing to put the head over the ball and dictate play. Now, we'll cover them in 3 stages. So the first one that we said was come up with a plan B. So for me, a plan B that I think would work, and if we look at teams that are traditionally very good at handling pressure, Richmond are a great example, Geelong are another one that are a great example, in years gone by Hawthorn are a great example. Now, genuinely, if you look at a very kick-heavy game style, kick to mark, let's say it's a very kick territory based, what you'd be looking for, and if you watch the second teams and how opposition structure against us, they play a very high forward press. So West Coast are great exponents of this, Port Adelaide are another great exponent of this, and they're 2 sides that we have these swings on. Now what that does is that encamps you in your defensive 50. It makes you kick to the wing, that's what they're looking for, they're looking to try and create that turnover and go again, and eventually pressure by numbers will tell. Now if you've got an Adam Sard, would be someone that I would be looking at off the halfback, he has the ability to break lines. Now what this does to a forward press, and we've seen Adam Sard and Basher Hooley display this, and particularly Caleb Daniel, if you watch him, they display this ability that they're fearful, because when they get the ball in hand, not only are they very decent with their ball by foot and also by hand, they're good at breaking lines. And if you break a line in a forward press, suddenly that kick down the wing's no longer an option, because you can look to take players on. And if you take players on and you break that line, suddenly a chain of handballs, some quick kicking out, you've caught them way outnumbered out the back. And if you look at how Richmond play, they do this. They invite that pressure and then they look to hit them on the counter, on the overlap. Suddenly someone breaks through a line. We've got a handball here. Suddenly Dustin Martin is alone in the goal square. Easy mark, easy snag. And that's where you create a plan B, and it's an organic creation. It's having the players on that half-back line, in your back line, that can do different things. Now, we know Doc, he hasn't got the lightning pace, but he has got the penetrating kick. He has got the ability to hit targets. Tom Williamson's got that ability to run on and really take the game on. He's strong, he's hard, he's looking to create the turnover. And then you add a bit of Saab there, suddenly you've got that wonderful mirror of a back line. You've got Jones, the spoil king. You've got Wheater in, one of the best one-on-one defenders. Both of them as a combination, our key defenders, are top in the league at the moment for one-on-one win percentage. Then you add Sard, a little bit of dash, a little bit of run and carry, the ability to hit targets. You've got Doc, who's a wonderful user, a wonderful reader of the game. You've got Williamson, hard at it, tenacious. And then you also have Newman, who's got a very long penetrating kick. So if you are encamped, he can really clear them lines as well, and we can reset. It's got a real making there of an elite level backline, and one that would be really hard to break, and it's all just by the addition of Adam Sard. Then, obviously, the second plan is looking for players that are good under pressure, players that accumulate the ball, that look to create links and chains, kind of like a link man. So a player that I would be thinking of there, and this would be probably your A-list, someone like Kelly, someone like probably who is gettable was a Zachy Merritt. Now what Zachy Merritt would bring to the table for Carlton Football Club is he's a wonderful ability to accumulate. He rates elite for effective kicks, he rates elite in his disposals, he rates in the high good category of disposal efficiency, and what he does is he creates meters gained, which is very important for what Teague wants. And also his pressure stats, he's kicking under pressure, he's also in the good category. He's a kind of player that he's just everywhere. He's always going to be there as that outlet ball, and he's going to look to keep the game moving. You're looking for a bit of control in the midfield under pressure, and Zach Merritt fits the bill. Now for me, the wonderful thing about Zach is he's a game changer. He's an all-star for me. He's an all-Australian in the right setup, and I personally don't think Essendon have the tools around him for him to become A grade. Like, I'm talking all-Australian grade. I think he's almost there, but I think the tools that we can present him are very important for his career, but also us. And I think his ability to work as well, both ends of the ground. You look at him, he's almost 50-50 for his time in defensive half and attacking half. The one negative for this gentleman is he's obviously not a goal-kicking mid. And you would say that that's probably where Kelly, they're very similar when you look at them in statistics. Kelly obviously has that ability to get forward. But for me, Zach Merritt would be someone that I would definitely be targeting. And it allows you to not only come up with a different plan B, it allows you a little bit of control and structure. Because one of the hidden things about him is he rates average for AFL tackles, but again, in the very good category, almost elite for pressure acts and his ability to impact contests. So for me, someone that is very understated, has a very, very high efficiency rating as well. His effective disposals are in the elite, and he's an absolute phenomenal player. He's someone that's going to keep the game moving and be very sure hands. He's definitely a massive upgrade on, say, a Mark Murphy, who we use in that situation, who comes under a lot of fire for us, purely based on the back of he probably doesn't fulfill that role anymore. He's probably too old. Then we said we needed pressure acts. Now, for me, when we're looking at pressure acts, you go to the best. Now, there's two options out there for us. There's a Jack Viney, if you want to go for a little bit more of an older, maturer head, or if you fit the structure of Carlton and what we're trying to build, you'd maybe look at Jack Graham, who we've been linked as. Now, Jack Graham's got a high, astronomical disposal efficiency at 75%, so he suits the bill of what we're looking for. He also has elite in his kicking efficiency, so straight away he gets the game. Now, what is exciting is he's one of the top performers in defensive pressure for a midfielder. He rates #1 for pressure acts, very good for tackles. This guy is a dynamo. And what he also brings to the table is his ability for, he's got a very high inside 50 conversion rate. He rates good for goal assists. This guy not only is tough with his ground ball gets, and these are numbers that we look at for AFL winning teams. Ground ball gets, 1%ers, these are very high stats. This guy rates in all them categories, and it's someone that you're looking at for me with his contested possessions, his ground ball gets. This guy is basically the future Ed Kerno for us, but he's got a little bit of a string to his bow that Ed doesn't have. And we know he can hit the scoreboard. He can break from that centre clearance and kick a goal himself. Now, one of the benefits for me is you look at someone like Butler, and we look at Graham for Richmond and Butler at Richmond. The signs are there that if this guy gets prolonged game time and plays as a key role for the club in the terms of his best 22 and he's starting week on week, this could be the Dan Butler deal of 2021. I would say that these numbers will improve 25%. I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy average 23 touches a game. I wouldn't be surprised to see his contested possessions and his ground ball gets suddenly go into the elite category. Them centre clearances pop up. This guy is as good as it gets for the price quoted. He's a superstar, and I would sway to this guy over Viney. I know Viney's got the experience, and there's probably less of a risk with Viney. For me, this guy suits the bill to a T. He's someone that I'd be very excited about, and it allows that pressure acts and then pressure in them second quarters particularly to really come to the fore. When we are under the cosh, this guy is going to go in there and win your ball back. With a Cripper that's going to have his surgery and you imagine he's back to his best, the thought of having Setfield, Cripper and Graham putting pressure acts, really getting the ball out and playing tackles and being hard, I reckon you will suddenly see that that's where the issue is with us. I do think Ross Lyon the other day said Carlton are softer than Fremantle. He's right. He's right. In these pressure chips to down situation, we don't have as many players that step up as Fremantle have done. And it is kind of an aberration when you would say Brayshaw, Shearer, Sarong, first year player, are tougher than the guys that were on the ball this year at times for Carlton. And Jack Graham instantly dispels that myth. You add a Jack Graham to that thing, you see a big improvement. For me, this is where it's got to improve. We've got to look at players with high kicking inside 50 efficiency. Graham's got a very good ratio, so has Merritt. You add these two in, suddenly that is going to improve. You also throw in the likes of Charlie Kerno next year. Another year Jack Martin's learnt the system. I think you'll see Gibbons go from an extra level and suddenly you're looking at good. Now, how much will all this cost us? Obviously, Zach Merritt is going to be a first rounder bare minimum, maybe even a first rounder in a second. I'd say Sad, you can probably get the deal done for a second. It'll be the salary. Zach Williams, we know he's coming in. He's going to give us real energy, and again, he fits the bill. He's creative, he's energetic, His kicking efficiency does worry me, and so does his disposal efficiency, but it's kind of a necessary evil because he is X Factor. He is a game breaker. He's probably going to be free minus the salary. Obviously, they're not going to match it, I wouldn't imagine, at that mark. And then obviously Jack Graham again, probably another second rounder, so probably you may see Carlton maybe break up that first rounder that we've got into maybe a later first. We just don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, for me personally, that is what we need at the moment. You add Sard, Graham, Zach Williams to the fore, suddenly we're looking at a different kettle of fish, because the forward line should take care of itself as it stands at the moment. Looks like now Champs Data have just removed McGovern off the out of contract next year, so it looks like them rumours of a third-year deal has been signed. We're just waiting for an announcement from a club. So it is a really exciting time. But all, in summary for this season, it's been a good season for me. There's so much more though for me. I think I was left wanting more. I think at the start of the season, if I judged it now, I'd be happy. I'm probably a bit disenchanted at the moment because these little things here that I've just suggested will really increase the output of the Blues and obviously make us a flag winning side. I think you add Graham, it also changes the profile of our list, and we will go into this a bit more in depth later on in the season and also later on with Blue Abroad as well. They're my initial thoughts just at the end of the season. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, but for me, that's what I'd be doing if I was the list manager now. That's what I'd be looking at, that's what's happened, that's what we need. Let me, guys and girls, know what you guys think, and as always, Pom out.